Okay, YouTubers, this is the Angry Prepper. So today's video, we're going to talk about something, I guess, if this situation unfolds and turns into a bad situation, meaning going to war with China, how bad is it going to be for our supply chain? Now, war with China, guys, is the more I look into it, and at least the supply chain, at least the gear and the supply we get from China. Granted, guys, a large portion of our shit is from China. I know that Biden recently said he wants to start building more stuff here in the United States. Sounded similar to what Trump said a couple of years ago. Whatever. We should be building more stuff here. Now, I know a lot of people are under this false notion that if we build stuff here, it's more expensive, so it's going to cost us more and all this other crazy shit. Yes and no. There's some truth to that, and there isn't truth to it. The bottom line, guys, is that we have to support this country and not another country, and not another country who supports slavery, China. China pays their employees garbage, especially when it comes to building or manufacturing items like stereos, phones, and so on and so forth. Anyway, if we go to war with China, guys, the supply chain issue that we saw during Mr. 19 is going to be nothing in comparison to the supply chain we will see if we go to war with China. We will see an apocalyptic level supply chain issue here in the United States and possibly around the world if we go to war with China. Now, am I still advocating war with China? Fuck yeah, fuck them. I hope we do. I mean, I can care fucking less about this shit. I get it that there'll be certain things we won't have anymore. Hell, there'll be parts of my car that'll break down and I probably won't be able to drive. Fuck it. I'll get a scooter or a skateboard. I don't care. And I will make sure the skateboard is not made in China. If the skateboard is made in China, I'll crack it in fucking half and I'll build myself my own fucking skateboard, American made. Faster, heavier, stronger. But anyway, again, not the point. The point is, guys, is the road we're going to head down if we go to war with China is probably going to be, like I said, apocalyptic level. Now, it won't be an overnight thing, but we will see the decline in American society and the comfort level of American society go down. Because without a lot of the things that we get from China, guys, it's going to be bad. Now, yes, can other countries pick up that slack? They probably could. The problem is, the one thing I hate to admit is that the Chinese does build cheap, but they build decent, if not good. If we have to go to another country, let's say India, to get that same part or piece or item, whatever it is, a phone or a stereo system, if anybody has stereo system anymore, we have to get that stuff from India. It might be cheaply made. I mean, really cheaply made, and it might break down within a couple of days of using it. Versus, at least with Chinese shit, you get a couple of years out of it before it breaks down. So, guys, how bad will it get? Well, let me tell you how bad it's going to get. It's going to get so bad, guys, that I would say within a 6-month to 8-month period, we're going to see things like vehicles breaking down and less deliveries being made. Because, well, a lot of those parts that broke down were from China, and we're no longer getting it from them. And if we don't have a backup plan for that part or parts, a lot of trucks around the fucking United States are going to be breaking down, and it won't be any replacement parts for them, or there won't be enough replacement parts for them. So now you're going to have less deliveries of what? Food, right? You're going to have less deliveries of water. You're going to have less deliveries of medical supplies because these parts broke down. Because we, as the United States, become too reliant on the Chinese. Now, yes, we do get parts from Vietnam. We do get parts from Taiwan. But if they invade Taiwan, as we're going to war with them, which I can see them doing, then we don't even have parts coming from there. So our parts circle, if you will, gets smaller and smaller because we have less places to go to get those parts. Now, guys, we will start to be without essential items and parts in this country if we go to war with China. Now, let's talk about the bigger issue, the electrical grid system. The electrical grid system, at least the transformers that supply or help our electrical grid system, are built in China. And to boot, it takes, 3 to 6 months for one to be made. So if we go to war with China and coincidentally the power goes out, we're screwed. We're never getting that part from China. Now, I did hear a couple years ago, about a year ago, sorry, they were looking for other countries to build this for us. I don't know if that's actually going through yet, but as of right now, we're still getting those transformers built by the Chinese. Now, there was an issue a year ago where the Chinese were building transformers, but they were putting listening devices or data collecting devices in the transformers. So again, there was that issue that the I guess United States Security Department, Security Department, found in the transformer. And when they found this out, they were like, "What the fuck?" So what they were doing was they were receiving the shipment and then dismantling the data collection devices that were in them. So again, I don't know if we still are, but they were in after that situation looking to get transformers from another place. Now, keep this in mind. Just because we go to another country to get that, let's say, part from them, that's not saying that that country's not getting the parts to build a transformer from China too. And that if they are helping us build a transformer, the Chinese might stop shipping the parts to build that transformer to that other country. Let's say the country's Brazil. They'll stop all shipments going to Brazil just to screw us over, and Brazil would take the hit. So there's this war with China, guys, is so vast. They have so many reaching arms in other countries that it's not just going to affect us directly with China. It can affect us indirectly with China as well through way of other countries. Now, guys, obviously there's a list of shit that we deal with China with when it comes to supplies and manufacturing parts and stuff like that. Now, manufacturing parts, again, machines that run factories here, whether it's farming or furniture factory or food processing plant, we get a lot of our parts from the Chinese in regards to that. Now, I know that like with farming supplies, I know a lot of them get their shit from here in the United States, which is good. But the manufacturing plants, they use a lot of their parts from China. Not all of them, but a lot. It's enough to make a difference that if we went to war with China, we'd be shit out of luck and have to get replacement parts from somewhere else. Cell phones, tablets, your iPads, stuff like that, that comes from China. That wouldn't be built anymore. We wouldn't have new phones. Now, I know a lot of us would be happy about that. I would be happy about it too. Parts from, parts from automotive parts and automotive cars themselves, or automotive vehicles themselves, guys. What about those? We won't get any more vehicles or new vehicles if we go to war with China, because a lot of the parts that we assemble the cars with come from China. What about the cobalt and lithium mines that are in Africa that are owned by the Chinese? Well, we won't get a lot of the batteries that we need because they have control over those mines, and they will absolutely, again, in Africa, tell them, well, you're not selling the lithium or the cobalt to the Americans. That affects us there, so we can't do business with the Africans on that level. Kitchen appliances. Your kitchen appliance breaks down, guys, guess what? Now you're gonna have to do without, or come up with an alternative, or buy an alternative part. Now, I've been pushing Buy American for a long time, and yes, guys, it can be done. You're gonna have to pay a little more. You're gonna have to fucking extend your little micro arms into your fucking deep ass pockets and dig deeper and buy what's needed from other countries. Granted, guys, sometimes it's not always the best. Nonetheless, it's better than buying Chinese. And if we go to war with China, well, then we're absolutely going to have to pivot and go somewhere else to buy these parts. Electronic equipment, guys. Computers, computer accessories. These are another group of items that come from China, and the parts that come from China. Like I said, guys, this thing goes deep. Medical supplies as well. Antibiotics, drugs that come from China as well. It starts hitting hard, guys. And then you start seeing this decline in the United States. You start seeing our way of life declining because now we're not getting those parts. Now, in some cases, guys, some of these parts might not break down for another year or two. You hope that this war doesn't last that long. But there is rumor from a military general, and I thought this in the back of my head real quickly. If China goes to war with the United States, I have a feeling, like the general said, there could be war here on American soil. He doesn't see us going over there. And I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, I can't see us going to war with China and going over there. That wouldn't make any sense. We would have, and if we did go over there, we would have to, I guess, rally at the Indians' border. I don't know how that would work for us to go over there. And then for them to come over here, how would that work? We would see them coming from miles away, from thousands of miles away. It wouldn't be like, we'd be like, oh my God, a surprise attack. There is no surprise attack. So I don't know how that would go down, but a military general said that was his thought, and that's my opinion as well, thought that that would be the only way to attack us, would be on this continent. You can't do it any other way. You can't win this country by fighting it overseas. Doesn't work. Anyway, guys, with that being said, a supply chain issue with China would be apocalyptic, and it would be apocalyptic level kind of shit. We would see the breakdown of society because we're not getting the replacement parts. We would see the breakdown of society to a point, guys, where I would say within a year or so, it would be not Mad Max shit, but it'd be close to it. Again, unless the United States pivot and pivots fast, which I think this is why they're looking for a lot of factories to come back here to the United States. They're looking for a lot of shit to be built here in the United States. They were even talking about getting transformers built here in the United States. If we do that, we'll be fine if we go to war with China. But if we don't do it, we're going to be in a bad way for a long time. Because even when that supply chain happens and we go to war with China and the war ends, guys, it's still years before we can recover back to where we were. Anyway, guys, this is The Angry Prepper. Thank you for watching.